able to catch up with us. Yeah. Right. So I'll go back to sharing my screen now. Right. So last week we attempted to do some stuff which we couldn't do. So this week we would continue from there. But in the course of trying to see how best to explain this, there are some things I will be going back on tonight to explain to us because I figured out last week I was trying to do so many things at the same time, and that was some of the issue we had last week. Trying to show responsive app and at the same time trying to show you how galleries work and all of that. So that was some of the issue. I think I need to pick it one at a time. So I might have to digress a bit this evening before we go back to this app. And this is the way we left it since last week. I've not touched it 6 days ago. So it's just the exact way. But yours might not be looking like this because I didn't what was it called? I didn't save, no, sorry. The 2 minute save was actually saving up everything. So that's why I have so many screen on here. But I'm going to go back on it and remove all the screens so we could start afresh from that. But having said that, there are some things I would quickly want us to go back onto. So I'll go on to a fresh make.powerapp.com. We'll come back to this app shortly. And then we come to apps. And I can say new apps. Let me go to create because I want it to come from here. Create a blank screen, and I will say that I want it responsive. I'll just pick tablet version, and then I'll go back to the reason why I'm showing up this thing is I want to explain um, collection to us this night. I want to explain what gallery is. And then I want to explain again. I've explained this in a bit before, but there are some things that we don't do that I would love us to do this evening. And the best way I can show us what collection is. Remember last week I was trying to show us what collection does. I said collection is just a temporary way of saving your data on your app before transferring it to your data source. So we are going to have a few examples this evening. And in doing that, I'll quickly create a list here. And I'll only create just one or two. So I'm sure most of us already know this. We've been doing this. So I'll call this to-do list or something. To-do list, and then I'll say create. Then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do some few basic things. First off, I want to bring in inputs. Text label, and I'm going to just call this first name.
No, it won't do it.
While I'm still here, I'm going to bring in a text input. I'm sure all of us that are on this call already know all of these bits that I'm doing here. And I will come to default. I want to clear it. I do not want it to show text inputs when I play it because I just want it to do this for me. And then here, I'm going to bring in a button. And I want to use this button to show us what collection does. So here, we would collect, let's say, collection, collect. I'll do copy and paste it again. Let me call this one ClearCollect. And then I'll create a third one. So I'll still copy paste again. And I'll call this one clear. Right. So if I go on to play this, this is what you're going to see. And all I want to do is when I type in the name, I want this just to collect the name for me. And when I do other things, I want it to work the exact way. So to start a collection, the first thing you would do on that button is to set it. There are three ways collections. We've got collect, got clear collect, and we've got clear. Clear, the three difference there is the collect would keep piling up the names. Clear collect is going to clear out everything that is there and then insert just that one record or two or three, as the case may be. And then the clear one is going to delete everything that we've got within our record. So if I say collect, what do I want to collect? I want to collect. And as you start typing, IntelliSense tells you, now it's asking you, what do you collection? What do you call the name of the collection? You give it a name. Let's say call to do or something. Let's say to do. And then he's asking you, what does he wants to collect into it? I want to collect this thing, text input one. You come back on here. And with a squiggly bracket, squiggly curly bracket, it's called curly this thing. And then you close it. Sorry. So it's closed already now. So you come back into the bracket and tell you what you want to collect. You say first name. That's it, what we are trying to collect. First name is text input one dot text. Now, what I'm trying to say here is I call this first name. So I'm saying every time I click on this button, I want you to collect first name for me. And what am I corresponding to first name? This thing here. You can now rename this and give it any name. Instead of calling it test input, you can say first name txt or something. You can rename your control and watch what would happen if I come back here. You can see it has changed the name to exactly what I changed it to here. Now, watch what would happen when I play this now. I'll go into play mode and I'll call this, I'll put the first name as Louis. And then I'll click on collect. And I'll go back to my mode. I'll go back to default mode. Now, I think I should have done something before doing that. I should have shown you that there was nothing here before then. I can clear it. Let me clear it first to show you. I'll go to clear, and in clear, I'll say when this button is pressed, clear. What do I want to clear? It's telling me there's only one. The only reason why you are seeing call to do is because that's the only collection I've got. If you've got 10 collections, it's going to list all of them for you. So I'll say clear, and that's all. Now watch what would happen. I want to clear it. You can see here it's saying we have it now already. I want to go on to clear it and show you how it's going to be even before we started. I've pressed that once. Let's go back in here and see. Okay, you can see the collection now. Presently, there's nothing in that row. And if you click on it, there's a way you can view table. You can see it's currently blank. This is how it's going to be. If you've not even written the collect statements, you would not see all of this global variable. The only reason why we are seeing it is because we've done some collections already. You can see how this looks like. Why do we have collections in Power Hub? Collection reduces the number of time we have to go to our data source. For every time you are saying collect, clear collect, or clear, you're actually calling on the data source. So that you reduce the number of times you're calling on the data source, that is why we have a temporary way of storing data. So this can take the form of a table. You can have, for instance, here and I can put comma. Let's even do it. I can put comma and take last name. I'll say, let me quickly create the variable for it. Let me drop the objects. I'll say copy and paste. And I'll drag it to the side and I'll change this to last name. So you can always copy and paste. I'll change this. Make sure you're selecting on that one only. Let's change this to last name. And this one, you can now change, rename. Let's rename this one too. You can see it's just adding extra _1 to it. Let's remove the _1 and let's call it last name txt. I want to do extra one. I will just say gender. I'll do one more because I want to show you how collection works. It works in form of a table. This one I will say, I'll call this gender. So I'm asking for 3 things from the user. Make sure these two is selected together. Make sure you're selecting just one. Let's change this to gender. And you can see now it's not on the same line. You can click both together and drag it a bit so it stays on the same line. Yeah, that looks not too right, but let's just leave it like that. We're just testing out something. Now, in our collection, you can see the first thing we are doing is we are collecting first name. Let's collect more than first name now. To do that, in that your squiggly bracket, you put comma, and then you now state what you are collecting next. Last. And you will soon know why I'm going back to this now. Very soon when I go back to our app. Last name. And then this one is called, what's this called? Last name. Now, you will be wondering, why did I add TST to it? It's because this is a text label. So when you are collecting, you have to tell it the data type you are trying to collect into it. So it's dots. Once you put that dots, it's going to bring suggestions for you. And this is a text label. If it were to be a combo box, it's going to be dot value or something, dot selected, which I'm sure we'll still do 1 or 2 things around that in future. And then lastly, we've collected 2 things. Just to show you that works, let's quickly play it and add hammer or something to it. And then when you click on collect this time, watch what would happen. Collect just once. Because if you click it twice, that means it's going to collect the name twice. Let's go back into our app. Now you can see our collection now is now saying it has 1 row. If you view it now, you can see Louis Amman is now collected. Now, what this collection does is after you can have 10 columns here collected within the app. Once you're done with everything, you can now patch. Patch means you're submitting in Power Apps. You can now take what you've collected and then submit it to your database. So that way, every time somebody is clicking a button, it's not as if they are connecting to the database directly. So it's a very useful concept. And I want to mention it to you before we proceed. Thirdly, let's quickly add gender to it as a third thing. That's the last one that I will collect from the gender. And you are assigning, you do a colon, and you are saying you want to assign gender. And what name is this one? But we didn't change the name. Let's say gender text. Gender just changed. Please, if you have any question, you can always call me back, please. Gender TST. Now let's use a small letter. So I'll go back to this one. And every time you are seeing this red arrow, that means your formula is expecting something that you've not done yet. So what are we collecting? Gender. And as you start typing, you see, it's going to bring it up for you. But is he happy? He's not yet happy because we've not told it what to do. Dot what? Dot text. And you see all of a sudden this red arrow goes away. And now let's play it again. And gender this time around, let's add male. And I want to change the name again to Victor. or Bassi or something. Now watch what is going to happen. You know, we've got Louis already in that record. Watch what would happen next when I hit collect once, and then I go back now to check my collection. You can see we have two records, two rows within our collection. And if I decide to view it, all you have to do to view is come to these three dots and click on view table. When you do that, you can see what is happening here. Louis doesn't have, because we didn't patch anything to Louis. So we are just saying Louis is there. And then we have Victor, male or Basi, just the exact way we had it there. Now, that is collection for us. It's a very important concept. In fact, you can't go anywhere in Canvas app without Miriam.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to find out because I saw that when you were trying to put in the text, you were using small letters. So if we put it in capital letters, it won't work.
You mean the name or the, let me show you. Are you talking of this TST or this text? There are two things there.
So the gender.txt, that
No, no,
one,
no, no.
the
It could be anything. Let me show you. I'll quickly show that. I can come here and not use TST. Okay, there's a conventional way of naming things. Because there are so many objects or controls you can use in Power Platform. There are conventional ways of doing it that everybody would know. For instance, at my place of work, now I can build an app and then I'm on 2 weeks leave, and then somebody else, there's something that maybe a new functionality they wanted to add to the app. I'm saying all of this so that you understand the concept of why we have a conventional way of naming objects. And then the other person who is also a Power Platform decides to go into the app that I've built, is looking at things. By the time he sees this TST, you already know that I'm referring to text. They are conventional way. For instance, if I want to rename this, we call it LBL in Power Platform. That means label. If you are working with gallery, they call it gal. If you are working with combo box, they call it CMB. So they are like conventional way, but it's not all cast in stone. It all depends on what you adopt. For instance, in my first company, the way it's not like LBL we use, but we have a common way of doing it. So it's not all cast in stone, but like a popular way of you quickly detecting what the U control is. That's all it is.
okay.
So this one, I can decide to, instead of calling it gender, I can decide to call it any name. Let's say gender, and I will take up the text completely. So I'm not putting, it will take any name you rename it as. The only name it will not accept is if somebody has, if within the app, gender has been used, that name has been used for something before. You can't name one object. You can't name two objects with the same name. That's the only way it's not going to. But any name you give to it is not going to complain. And by the time you come to here, you see that it has changed. So it has now changed. It's no longer gender.tst. So it's a conventional way of naming. Everything that has TST is like text label. Everything that has LBL is like label, input, normal label for displaying things. So that's all it is in Power Platform. But this one here is very compulsory. This is where you are declaring the kind of data type you are collecting. You are saying text, it's a text data type. So that is where the declaration is being made. So this one is compulsory. This doesn't change whatsoever. But the names that you give any of the control can actually change. Is that okay?
Yeah, so what if we're trying to put in a value? You said it would be dot val, right?
There are so many of them. If it is, let's put in age now. Let's add one extra one and say age, for instance. You know age is going to be a number, so let's say let's drop it down. Control paste. Then let me drop it down here, and I'll call this. I'll say age, and then I'm expecting age to be a number. First thing you would do if you want to collect a number, see this thing, it's asking you the format. You come back to the label and make sure you are selecting the right label. This time around, there are only two available. So you make sure you select number here. Once you've done that, let's go back to our collection. Let's play it and collect. Okay, I've not added it yet. Let's quickly add that to our collection. All you have to do is put a comma, and then I've not renamed this, so I won't better rename it. I'll just use the name the way it is here. Copy and paste it, then with a colon, not semicolon, a colon, and then what's the name of this one? Gender.y. It doesn't really matter. You can rename, you can decide not to rename. Renaming is for you to understand what you're doing. And did you see what happened? He's really happy with it. He's not asking for the text this time around. And how would you know? Another thing that I said why Power Platform is interesting is if you look at everything, one of the way you figure out if you're having error is by looking at the color. You can see this one is highlighting green. That's to tell you what you've selected. In a case you're having 10 or 15 things, all of the colors are going to be different. This is this color. Look at gender, is picking this color. If I had another thing entirely, it's going to give me a new color. Just to is like a way of pointing to you what you've selected there. Let's go ahead and play it and add one thing. I'm not going to go with Victor again. I'll add something else. So we'll know that our records are different. Let's call this John Doe. Let's say it's male. Okay. But let's call the age 25. Now watch what is going to happen now. When I click on collect, you only click on it once, and then you go back to you can't view it because you won't see it in the back end. You need to go back to your design mode. And this time around, you can see we have 3 items. If you view your table, this is not collecting the way I want it. Why is it saying? What's happening here? This is another strange thing I'm seeing. Gender underscore control. Okay. I know what I'm doing. Wait a minute. I'm saying. So does it want text from me? I'm confused right now. Let me play it again. I'll add it just one more time. He's not even happy. The formula is not correct. Okay. I need to take this off. Let's play. There you go. Is that the name of that label? Label 1.3. Then it's correct. The number. Does it now want me to wrap it in a value? Okay, is that what you want? Let's see. Is happy boy is collecting the wrong thing. I'm going to use ChatGPT or something else. Let me use Copilot to resolve this and see. I'm always making one silly mistake that is causing issues. That was the last thing that happened the last time. Let's try and skip this and then correct this for me. And then you state the concept, gender underscore 1 is a number input. Let's see what it's going to come up with. Yeah, but I did it. Okay, value. Oh, it's happy already. I was thinking it's going to accept it. I already wrapped it. Okay, let's see. Value. The .txt. That would be very surprising if that works. And then come back to this and change it to text. And then it's requesting for one more closure. It's good now. I want to leave it as number first and see what it's gonna do. Okay, let's play it. Click on collect. Oh, now he's happy. That's strange. Okay, it's always a learning curve every time. Right. So what he's expecting from me is for you to, there's something we'll call casting in, for anybody that has done, I'm sure you know Miriam and Louis on this call. When you are trying to convert from one text label, from one data type to another, there's a way you cast it, like the way you do in Python, where you cast from text to number, all the different data types. That's the exact thing he's expecting me to do. So you want me to wrap it up in value first. Miriam, I'm going to call you. Let me quickly explain it. It's going to wrap it up in value, and then you still have to declare it like you are declaring a text. The reason why I left it initially was because it wasn't complaining. There was no red dot anywhere. But obviously, it was speaking the wrong thing from me. It was speaking the name of this control, which is not what we want. We wanted the value we passed into it. So obviously, it's expecting me to wrap it up in the value and then leave it just the way it was. So I didn't have to change this. It was still number. But the only thing is that I need to wrap this gender dot one. I need to put dot text. So everything has to be in dot text. That's what he's expecting. And then wrap the one that is number in value. Miriam.
Okay, so there's question in the chat box.
Okay, sorry, I'm not seeing
Yeah.
my chat. If I'm not answering, please, it's not
Okay, so
intentional
I
yet.
think Taya said he's lost, and then Onyeka said, why is the column showing label and not age?
That was what I just explained. I'm sure that message was before I explained that to us now. Onyeka, do you still, if you can unmute, if you still want me to answer it again. But if I've explained, you can just let me know.
Yes, because you know when you went back after getting your
Yeah,
inputs, I
yeah,
couldn't. Yeah, good. Label one dot the
yeah,
column
yeah,
name. Why is it not
yeah.
showing
It was
age?
showing gender. Yeah, it was showing gender dots. But
No,
I explained.
the top, the
Okay,
top.
this one was before I wrote the collection. So this two does not even know. You can see even here, there's no gender here. I initially
No,
had
you're not getting me. The age is not the name of the column. It's not writing. It's not showing age.
okay.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, sorry. That's me doing the wrong thing. I wrote label 3. That's why it's speaking the wrong thing. So it's age now. You can see all other ones. First name, last name, gender. But this way, here now, I wrote label something, something, not age. So let's patch another one into it now. Let's change let's play and pick Elaine Johnson or something. Let's see if that name is not going to change now. Let's say her age is 35. Let's say she's female. And let's click on collect now. Let's go back to our row. So the name should have changed now. Yeah. So I was the one doing the mistake. Hello, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm there.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
So that was a mistake from my hand. That's why. Right. The Miriam, is there another question in the box before we continue in the message box there?
So Taya was saying he's lost. I don't know if he wants to unmute to.
Yes, please. Tayo, if you can unmute, please.
All right, good evening. I joined the class late, so
Uh,
No, yeah, I don't think it'd be nice
there's a
to
video
really follow.
recording. We are
Yeah,
recording
no,
this
no
section, so you
problem.
can always go back
Yeah,
to it.
it's fine. I'll just follow through.
All right, yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
but what we are doing in essence is I'm showing what we call collections. And I already explained what collections were. I say collection is like a temporary way of saving data within your Power Apps before you send those same record to your to your data source. And why? The question will now be, why are we saving data up? Every time you are calling to build a scalable application, an application that is highly optimized, you need to reduce the number of time you go in and out of your data source. So it's better to save all of the data you can save on the app and then use one single submit, maybe at the end, to now submit all of what you have in your collection to the data source straight up. So that was the whole essence of this. And we kind of left where we were last time, and we are trying to just clear the hair around here now. That's the reason why you met us here. Now, I'm sure everybody on this call now understand how collection work. And then there's a way to declare it. Every function in Power App has a peculiar thing they do. To do collection, if you want to keep adding to it, you declare it with just collect and then declare the name of the collection, which is a free name. You can give it any name and then start with a squiggly bracket, this one. And then depending on the number of labels you have or how many things you want to, you start each of them and start writing first name, then pick the name, the label, what the name is called from here, and put dot text. Once you put dot, it's going to tell you the data type and you see text and just select comma, last name, comma. So if we have 50 things, this is the same way we are going to declare all of them. So it's going to create like a table for us with each of those things we've declared as a column on our table. Now we've done this. Let's quickly go on to show what ClearCollect does. ClearCollect has its own peculiar function too, which is ClearCollect. And then it's going to ask you what's the same way we've done, which one do you want to ClearCollect into? This one. And I'm not going to stress to do this. I'll just copy the name the way it is there and change this to ClearCollect, please. Because that will save us a lot of time. We are not doing anything different there. So I'll come back here, and this time around, instead of just here, I'm going to change this to ClearCollect this time around. ClearCollect. I'll go on to delete the collect that is in front. Now, let's see what would happen. Now we've changed it. It's the same thing. There's no difference. So it's the same way you would declare these three: collect, ClearCollect, love.
Please, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Just in direction with this ClearCollect. For instance, if I'm on the collect, right, and maybe
Yes.
I double click twice because I noticed I had
It will
trust
enter
that.
that. It will enter that name twice. Yes.
Yes. What if I want to delete one of it? Would I have to use the
Also,
ClearCollect? Want to clear everything?
it's going to clear everything. So no, but you at least you understand the concept. This is not is a topic on its own anyway, but is because you would need it in the app. That's why. So it's not really a big thing. You
Yeah,
already know how it works.
yes, because that's what I remember. There was a time you said we can use this for storage of data. And for instance,
Yeah.
maybe I'm trying to
Now,
get for
if you want to, there's another function called remove in Power Apps that can help you to remove the row you want to remove. So you can use remove. Yeah. So everything has everything has its own function that you would need to call to do it.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank
But
you.
at least you understand the concept. So if you mistakenly click that thing 3 times, it's going to collect it 3 times, the same name for you. So that's just the way it works.
Okay.
Right. So I'll go on to ClearCollect now. Now I've written the same formula. All I did was to change this function right in front. Now let's see what would happen when we play it. Let's pick a name that we've not used at all since. Let's pick Simeon Thompson or something. Let's say male. And let's say age is 45. Now I'll go back here before I go. You can see we currently have 6. Let me show us again. We currently have 6 things already in our call. This is the name of our collection. We have 6 rows already. Now, when we hit ClearCollect, let's see what would happen to this same record we've got. So I'll go on to play it. Now I've changed the name to Simeon Thompson and male, and the age is 45. Now, instead of, I'm not clicking collect again. I want to, because I'm trying to, once I click it once, let's go back now. And now you can see it has cleared everything. So if you have 1,000 record in that collection before, ClearCollect is going to wipe everything away and collect just that one thing. Now you can collect more than one at the same time. You can do 20 records. You can do 50 records, but it's going to insert that exact record into it and it's going to clear everything you've got. So ClearCollect is highly, if you ask me which one do we use most now, we use ClearCollect more for in Power Apps than any of these other ones. Because hardly would you collect, because how do we use ClearCollect now? For instance, the task we were building. Oyinka, yes.
Quick question.
Yes.
Let me get something straight. This what ClearCollect and Clear. Is this supposed to be for the developer or for the users to input?
It's for the developer. You can remember that everything we are doing, we are writing. Okay, when I play it, let me show you what we are doing. This is, if I'm to build this as an app now, this is all you are going to see as the end user. You do not know what is happening. I can, in fact, let me do something. Let's change the name to submit, not collect. It's because I'm using it to describe. Let's change the name to submit, and then I'll play it again. Now, it is submit now. The user, the person that is using the app doesn't know the formula behind your submit. One thing that is very important is logic in Power App. I think it's even more, you can see, as I always struggle with what's it called, with codes. I still struggle with it to date, but because I know the logic of what I want to do, you can always use ChatGPT to write what you want and it's going to write it perfectly. But if you do not understand the logic, there's no way you would even know the prompt to give ChatGPT, that ChatGPT will write the correct thing you're trying to do for you. So you are the one building everything. All the user is seeing is just this interface. The user cannot, behind it, the user cannot tell what is happening behind this. You are the one declaring that every time this button is pressed, this is what I want the button to do. So it is all done by developer, not by the end user. I don't know if that makes sense at all.
Yes, it makes sense. So the user is one submitting after filling the form.
Exactly.
Good.
But then you are the one determining what is happening with the submit button.
I understand now. Then why would the user also click? Why would they have access to ClearCollect and Clear?
I'm using it to cite an example of things
Okay,
you would need.
that's what
Yes, it's not like we are building an app. I'm telling you, these are the three. Yes, these are like the three ways of collecting data and in collection in Power Apps, which is a very key topic. If you go on YouTube and type collection, you see another video explaining just collection to you, because it's a very important topic. You can't shy away from it. There's no way you build a complex app without using collection. So it's a very, very important topic. And that's why I'm taking time. You would hardly see where people would explain it the way I've kind of break it down. It took me time to understand some of these bits, but when you're teaching, I think I have to teach in such a way that the stress that I went through, that the person I'm teaching doesn't have to go through. So that's why I'm showing all of this. And you will soon see, we will use this ClearCollect back in our app very soon. And that's the main reason why I came back to show this and how it's going to work soon. So now we've done ClearCollect. ClearCollect clears what you have in the collection and create a new record for you. Now let's try Clear. Clear is simple. It's just we've written it already. The function is just called Clear. And what you are clearing is just the name of your collection. You don't need to put all those squiggly brackets and all those things. It's going to clear everything within your collection. So let's quickly try. Okay, let's insert. No, there's no need. Let's just clear it like that. So I'm going to click on clear once. And then let's go back to our app and see if we still have anything in our row. Now you can see everything is now gone. Our table is blank now. So that is the concept of collection. And I would quickly show us why I was speaking about. Also, I'm not sure, there are so many people that are not on the first call. I also spoke about global variable and context variable on this set date too. global variables in every programming language, Python, Java, you would always have variable. Everywhere there's a variable. And what are variable? Variable is like you declaring it once, and then it's reusable across the board anywhere you want to use it again. So global variables, if you declare it once and you have 50 screen within your app, what do I mean screen? This is what I'm talking about. This is screen 1. I can decide to add screen 2 and add screen 3 and add screen 4. If I declare that global variable here once, that global variable can be reused anywhere within the app and it's going to work for me. We can as well do an example of this. To declare it, all I have to do is, most time, our global variables are declared on this particular thing we call app on start. From app, you click on this app here, and then you click on app on start. App on start means every time a new user clicks on that app, this collection is going to, that formula, the logic behind it is going to load even before the app opens up to the person. So you are saying before the app, as the app is trying to load, I've already declared this collection, and that collection is to be used across board anywhere within the app. Now, app on start, to set, I'll just set one example and we'll go back to our app. To set a global variable, it has a unique code too, and it's called set. When you click on set, you can now, let me use global. I can now GBL and global. I'm trying to make it global variable and say my name or something. My name, comma, and then you set the value. What is down the value of my name? You set the value here, and that's it. So I can say my name is Leke. Is he happy? No, he's not happy. Why is he not happy? A text variable in most programming language always needs this, and then it's happy now. I don't know if I'm making any sense, please. This is highly going to be used. See, all these concepts that I went back today are things that you cannot, if you don't understand this, you cannot understand anything perhaps, because these are the concepts upon which you start building complex applications on. All what we've been doing, just submitting form, it's in the real world is always more than that. So now I'm starting to go into not advanced concepts. These are still beginners concepts, but they are like way more for beginner. Beginners are beginning to understand some things. So set, that's how you declare it. In every programming language, you have to declare it first before you can use it. So it's like you are assigning something to something. I'm saying that I'm assigning the value. You know, in our mathematics, we'll say let x equals to 7. That means anywhere you are in that equation, if you are seeing x again, you can now substitute 7 to it. That's the same thing we've done here. We are setting this thing. Now, instead of putting Leke in 100 places, we can just keep calling this one and it will keep returning Leke back to us. So this is how global variables are set. While now to call it, now you can see I declared it on the app on start, but watch what would happen. I want to go into screen 1 now and bring in a text label. I'm going to drag it all the way to the ground to here. And instead of saying text now, I want this thing to refer to Leke. And how do I declare it? Just call what I have here. And when I play my app, I've not, sorry, this was the same thing that happened last week. I've not, after you've created this, you need to come onto here and say run app on start. You need to run it first. What do I mean by run? You can see after I declare this thing, I need to click on this button, and that is what initializes it. I only declared it. If you come back here now, here's it. You can see there's nothing under this thing. So you need to declare it before you can now start using it. So I'll come back to here and say run app on start. And now that I've run app on start now, if I come back to label, you can see now it's now picking the right thing. So if I play my app now, you can see what is happening. This was what happened last week and cost me so much issue Because I was just sick and I couldn't even wrap my head around it. So this is all I needed to do last week, and that cost us a whole lot of issue. The only thing I needed to do after declaring it is to make sure I click on Run App on Start. I go back to tree view. The tree view is what showed the list of screens and everything. Make sure after declaring your variable, you are declaring it on the onStart property. Make sure you click on this three dots and then run it. Why are we running it now? If we are to come into this app afresh, it's going to run automatically. But because we are in the app and we've not left, we need to run it ourselves first before it will now take that variable and start using it. So here now you can see it has accepted Leke. Watch what would happen. I'll come here again and I'll bring in another text label. And this one again, I want to still declare it as Leke. I want to declare it as that same global variable, JBL name. And you can see it's still happy again, despite the fact that we are on a different screen. So if you have 50 screens within your application, that one that you've declared as global variable, you can use that variable across board within that app. That is global variable. Is there any question around global variable? Okay, Miriam.
I can see that Love's hand is up. But I just wanted to ask the global variable, where is it saving?
The global variable is not saving anything. It's only collection that save. Global variable is only declaring that S is equals to. It's like you assigning something to something, but it's not saving. It's in fact we can't save. It's only saving on the memory of the app while you are still using it. Once you log out, that is all. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay, right.
Okay, thank you. Love's hand is up. I don't know if she has a question.
Yeah, yes, you can go for it. Love, are you there?
Sorry, yes, I am.
Okay.
Sorry, do you ask me for something? I was distracted 2 minutes.
Somebody said your hand was up.
Your
Was it
hand
from the
is
last
up.
one?
Oh, no, sorry, maybe it's the last one. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, sure. Go for it. Okay. So I believe everybody understand what collection is, what global variable is now. I'll do the last one, which is called local variable or context variable, just as the name implies, yeah. Global, and you can see we have one now. So if you have 10 global variables, if you do another set again now, if I do another set again, it's going to show up here and show the name and all that. But you can see under context, we do not have any context variable. Let's come back to our app. Let's come back here. To declare context variable are often declared on the screen itself, on the screen you are on. Remember this one app on start because you want it to capture everything that is on that app. But that's not the only place. You can still declare context variable on the screen too. Global variable can also be declared on the screen too, and it will still work across board everywhere. But the best way to declare it is always on the app on start. For this one, let's come on to, and to declare it, there's a property of every screen called unvisible. What does unvisible mean? Unvisible mean as the app is opening, as this particular app is opening, what are the objects that I want to be visible? For instance, I can hide some things now. Let me go on to click on this one. And then let me come to unvisible. And I want to change it to false. Watch what would happen. You can see when I play this app now, all of a sudden this is gone. So that is what unvisible is. Unvisible is you telling it what should come up as the app is loading for the very first time. Now, to declare on the unvisible property, it has its own function too. Now, the functions are beginning to pile up now. But these are the common ones you would always use in every application. It's called update context. And then you give it a name. This time around, I will say lock. My lock is meaning local variable. And I will say my last name or something, my last name. Now, to declare on this one, unlike the other one where we use comma and then declare what we want, here is a bit different. You would need the squiggly brackets, open and close it, and then you can close this completely. And here you need to put your colon. And then here we would say, let's give it, what name should we give to it? Samuel something. Update context, lock variable. Is not happy with something. Let me see. Function is invalid. What am I typing wrongly this time around? Oh, okay. Sorry. Don't mind me. Yep. Now he's happy. So to start the local variable, the name is called the function is called update context. And then once you type update context, it's going to even be the one to open up the parentheses for you. And then you go in with your squiggly brackets. You will declare the name. This was where I declared my first name the other time. And then I used comma on the other one. Remember that one was set. This time around is going to be colon, and then you declare it. Now I'm going to create an extra label here. And I'll bring in inputs label. Now for this label, I would make the property lock last name. Now you can see what's happening here now. This is not showing. If I play it, it's not even going to show. Why is it not showing? It's not showing because I've declared it, but I've assigned it rather, but I've not declared it. How do I declare it? To declare it, all I have to do is leave this screen and come back to this screen for the first time again. And when I play it again, you can see it has now been declared. I have to leave that screen first. That was the same thing I did here. But you know, this one has run on start to do it. But for this one, this this thing that I did cost me almost maybe 3 days of work. My boss was just looking at me and he didn't tell me what the problem was. It was just when I started out there, it was very crazy because I was declaring it and nothing was happening. He told me, yes, you've declared, you've assigned, sorry, but you have not declared. To declare it, you need to leave that screen and come back onto it. And then if you come here now, you can see we now have, and it will even tell you the screen where the context variable is and tell you what name has now been assigned to it. Now, you remember we could come to this screen and I declared this one. Let's create a new label and that will be the last thing and then we'll go back to our app. So, oops. So I'll come in here. Now watch what is going to happen. I want to say lock. And it doesn't even understand that the name is his last name. It doesn't understand because this variable that I've declared can only be used on this one screen. Now you can use it 100 times within that one screen if you want, but you cannot use it on this screen because you've not declared it. Now, there's a way to also, should I say it now? It's going to confuse you. There's a way to pass that concept to the next variable, but I'm not going to say it now. That would be one, as you start progressing, you'll see how you can actually pass this same one. You can pass it to the next screen if you want. By using, it's going to come in the form of, this is how it is written in case you want to check it up later. In navigate, when you say navigate, and then you're navigating towards screen, and I can say screen fade, and then I can now declare what I want to pass into it, comma, and then it's expecting a context now. I can now pass this concept and close this now, and it's going to work. So I can declare this thing and pass it into this context, and it's going to work. But that would be probably maybe in a later class or something. Let me not confuse you now. So this is how the three things are done: collection, global and local variable. They are very important concepts, and you will see the use very soon when we start doing something. Is there any question before we now go back to our app now, please? Questions, please. Okay, so I'm assuming everybody now understand what all of those things were. So let's go back to our app now. And this was the screen we had last week. I'm going to quickly remove all this screen. The reason why I still have this screen was because it has been open for a while. Let me refresh it. Right, so this was the screen. Everybody understand what is happening on this screen, but this one, people do not understand. I'm going to delete it. We'll do it all over again. This one, I'm going to delete it. We'll do it again. This one, I'm going to remove this too. So this is the screen that I believe everybody has on this class now, because that was where we were, I think, was it 2 weeks ago or thereabouts? So we are going to now start and apply some of the concept of the things I spoke about quickly in this app. Now, remember, we started building an app and we called it, I didn't have to use this list again during my explanation. Right, we built an app, we built our SharePoint. Let me delete this one. People do not know how this got here, but I can as well leave it. It doesn't matter. Right. So we built our SharePoint for those that were not in that class. But if you've watched that video, you would have seen it. We are trying to build a tax management app. The concept is let's assume everybody on this call is in the same team. We are in the marketing team. And then Louis on this call is our line manager. He wants to go in and assign tax to everyone. And then he wants everyone to be able to see the tax they've been assigned. You're going to see the priority, the status, and you can go into edits. Now, we are trying to build a higher complex, not too complex, but it's like a moderate complex app, because the ones we built initially were just one screen and all you were doing was just submitting form. Now, people will be wondering, is it perhaps is it all about just submitting form? You can replicate almost everything that is done on a website in Power Apps. And that's what we want to take the functionality a bit further by introducing some extra bit into it. Now we have our screen, which is functional. Let's still play it and be sure it's working fine. Example of tasks that can be done at work. Just give me a suggestion. Create timesheets for the department or something. Okay, there's another thing here that I've been struggling with for a while that I would also want to show some of us again today. And it has to be this. Let me see. And _GB. Now, for those that have been on this call for a while, I've literally been struggling, and that's because Power Apps keeps changing something. Because that formula that I had in there was what I used in developing one of the apps I had in the past. But I'm not sure why it's not working. And let me quickly take this away, or let me comment it out. To comment something out in Power Apps, there are two ways. You can use your double /. If it is a long body of text, let me do an example. If it's a long body of text, you will start with / this. All the body of text will be here, and then you end with this, and everything you want to comment will be here. So why do we comment things out? We comment them out if we do not want to delete them. You might want to have them there. Maybe you are still building the app. You think you might need that thing in future, but you do not want it to affect what you are doing. You can just leave it on. With this comment, it's going to take everything. But if it's a single line, the double sign is going to work. These are things I might never speak about again. So that's how it works. So I've taken it out again. If I play the app, see what is happening. It's taking American formats. And that's because Microsoft is obviously an American company. So they are always giving preference when you are doing things. But if you want it displayed in the proper UK format, all you have to do is come onto here. And in this language, all I have to do is English Great Britain. That's the meaning of this thing I'm seeing here. And then if I play the harp again now, you can see it's now taking the format that I've always wanted to use all those Y. So that's all you do just to correct that. Initially, Miriam, yes, please. Miriam, I saw your hand up.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Oh, okay. Right. Initially, from the app I built in the past, this formula serves me well, but I do not know why it's no longer working on here. This was because this is the same language I've declared here, and I've told it how I want it, but I don't know why it doesn't work the way I want it here, but that's fine. So I'll quickly play. So we've corrected one thing from some of the list of things we wanted to do in the past that we haven't. What do? I just need a big body. Okay, I won't say kindly. What's the name of our task again? Okay, kindly create timesheet for everyone in the department. Something like that. Assigned to, let's give it a name and say Sharon Nicola. Priority, let's say is an high priority thing. The due dates, I have not changed this one, and that's why it's still expecting it to do. Let's quickly do what we did on here. Come on to the dates, the property, go to language. It's a text thing. That's why I'm starting with this. And then you come back into the middle, EN, -G, all in capital letter, GB. And then you see that changes almost instantly. And then it's not yet started. Let's see if our app is still working. At least let's send this one record to be sure what we have before is all good. Yeah, so our app works fine. Oops, what is this? And to see, all you have to do in the here to see it is just to refresh. And yes, we are good to go. So it's the record we sent in now came in the way we wanted it. So let's go back to our app. So we are sure the thing we did in the past is still functional. What do I want to do this night? I want to incorporate what we call, I didn't explain gallery. I should have explained gallery. Let's quickly do it. Let me go back to this one. Oh, I need to explain this gallery. If not, it's going to cause us issue again here. Anytime you are seeing this sign, that means something is wrong. All you have to do is click on this, click on edit formula. This one, we do not need it again, so I'm taking it off. Now, what is gallery? I think that's the fourth thing I need to explain that is very important. In Power Apps, there are few ways, not so many of them, there are few ways you display a list of items that you have. And one of those ways is using gallery. And to prove gallery to us, I would quickly go back to the to-do list I created now. I hope I still have it. To-do list. Did I create it? Oh, I didn't finish it. But I can pick another one. Let me look for something we worked with in the past that has data. Work tax. Oh, okay. Yeah, this should work. Let me use this one. Right, thank you. So I'll come on here. I would bring one in first. So you come into your inputs and type in gallery. Now you can see blank vertical gallery, blank horizontal gallery, blank flexible height gallery. Now, I haven't used blank flexible height gallery in the past. I've always used either vertical or horizontal. Now, what's the difference between vertical and horizontal? Vertical is from top down. That means the list of items you want to see, it will follow each other like this. If it is 50 items, they will be listed this way all the way down. And galleries are scrollable, so you can scroll them all the way. If it is an horizontal one, it will list the item like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, side by side, and it will go from left to right. While this one, the vertical one, will go from top down. And to explain it, I'll bring in vertical gallery. Now, the first thing that a gallery wants from you is gallery wants you to put as you're bringing in gallery, it will ask you for item. The item is the data source, or you can use your collection. For instance, we can decide to use our collection here. If we choose that collection, I'm not sure we have anything in that collection again. Let's see. Oh, 0 thing. Let's quickly populate some things and add it there. Then let me use that collection instead of using another thing. Let me go to screen 1. Please, if I'm confusing you, please let me know at any point in time. So I'll say remember this is collect. Now we just changed the name. So I'll say submit. Now we should have one record in our gallery now, I guess. Now 1. Now let's go back to tree view and see the gallery we just brought in. The gallery we just brought in has fields or 0 fields. Let me use a complete listen. This is not going to serve me. Let me bring in a data source. What's the name of this one again? Work task. Okay. Let's bring in SharePoint. And you know how we always do. Most of us already know this. You just copy, come back here, and then click on connect and work. I think, is it work task? What did I call the name again? Okay, yeah, it's this one. And then connect. Now, this one is still saying our collection. Let's change the name to the one we just brought in now, work task. And now, all you have to do to display, let's come back and see here. To view your gallery is saying blank now. Let's just go with title first. It's not showing what I want. Title and subtitle. Actually showing, but it's not showing the list of items that here. Why? Okay, right. I think I should just take the opportunity to explain. Now, you can see what I've done. Let me go back to a step backward. Now, initially when we came in, you can see, let me go back to blank. This is how your application is going to be most times, blank. This caused me issues some other times too, as I was scanning for where the problem was, but I couldn't quickly find it. If it is blank, it's not going to pick anything. Now, these are the list of things. If there's picture, anything you can select, but most time it will only be title, subtitle, and body. Now, let's pick this. You can see there are things. Now, it's scrollable, meaning there are so many items there, but it's not displaying anything. So what could be the issue? You will click on the first item in the gallery. Remember I said the gallery is going to be vertical one now. It's going to be from top down. You click on here and you can see there are 3 things. The first one is saying this item dot title. But if you come back to our title is blank, and that is why this is blank also. Now let's pick a column that has value. Let's go with tax name now. So we'll come instead of title, let's change this to task name and see what is going to happen. All of a sudden, did you see what happened? So your gallery is going to have items in. All you have to do is point it, and every item in the gallery would have this as its property. Dot what? Dot, it will now be the names of each of the column. Let's go to another one. My picking. Let's go for this one. This one is still saying title. I don't know why all of them are picking title. Let's go to this one now. Let this one be, let's say due date. Did I see due date there? Yeah. Let's say due date. And all of a sudden, you can see our app is now populating. If you count all the objects in this column, it's going to be exactly the total number of rows you have here on this gallery. So gallery is the way you would display your item on. If you have many things you want to show, it is always so gallery. Every concept that, please, this video that I'm taking these nights is very important. If you know you want to go further in Power Platform and you're not here to joke, please, you can go back and watch this video again. They are like the solid foundation upon which you can build your Power Platform interest on, because they are highly needed. You can hardly would you be able to build an app without using collection, except if you are building a simple app. Hardly would you be able to build an app and you are displaying object without using gallery. So these are very, very important things. Now you can see what I've done around here now. Let's pick, I think there's another third item. And let's pick, what should we use here? Let's use priority as a third thing here. So you come back onto here, remove that title. Title is actually blank, and that's why everything is blank. Then we are changing it. And as you start typing, IntelliSense is going to know you are referring to the names within the column. And it's going to, if there are 10 columns that have letter P starting, it's going to bring all of them, and then you can select. So let's just pick priority. Did you see what happened here? We pick priority, but it's not displaying. I'll tell you why that is happening. The reason is because priority is a combo box from my app. This is an app I built a year ago or thereabouts. Yeah, this is around here. You can see the dates. I worked around this in 2024. So this is a combo box, and it's a choice field. And because it's a choice field, gallery expect you to add something more at the back. And how do you know? He's not happy. You can see he's already underlining priority, and here he's showing red sign already. All you have to do is put one more dot, and it's going to tell you what it needs from you. And now it's going to be value. So every time you have a choice column, you can't just refer to it as just this. Remember, these ones are just normal text. Date too is date column, so it understands this one. But every other one that is in choice column and all those things, they always take up this value property. Now, value is because it is what that person has selected from the list of items presented to them. Now, if we play our gallery, you can see what is our gallery is now looking like a gallery now. You can decide to pump it up a bit. Let's say this is 18, it's a bit too, but let me say 20 because I want for 22, sir. Let's give it maybe 16. And priority, let's say 18. I want us to see. Let me play back again. Now you can see. And if you compare that list, if you go back to the one we had, had it been I can just oppose it on both sides, you will see conduct market research. If I go back here, you see conduct market research, sorry. The next one is develop marketing strategy. Next one is up. So it's going to list, and let's check the last one just for record purpose. Design customer satisfaction survey. Let's scroll all the way down. Remember, I said gallery as scrollable. Design customer satisfaction survey. So this is how, and I can decide to expand this and let it cover my whole screen. Draw it all the way down, whichever I want, and fill it up and do anything. I can still add more things. Let me show you what I'm saying. To add more objects into this thing, see this pencil sign in front of gallery, click on edit, and then let's insert a text label. And I want it dragged to this side. And already it has picked this item, but let's pick one more column and work with it. Let's say work task status. So let's change this one to work task. And is he happy? He's not happy. Why is he not happy? The same thing. This is a choice column. There are three things to be selected. So you need to add dots, value to it, and bam. Now it is showing almost everything we have. So if you can display, I can decide to add another label to show different things depending on the number of things I want to show. And you can see how this is looking now. This is gallery. Gallery is how now it's if you look at this now, it's looking like a proper app for you. This is something you would have seen on a normal day, and then you'll be able to work with it. So this is what gallery, this is what we want to do on our own app too. We want a situation where all of our tasks is visible on the new screen, and then you'll be able to see the task's name, the date it was assigned, the task priority, the expected this thing. And then we want to take it one more step further by giving it the ability so that you can edit. For instance, when the supervisor assigned, sorry, when the supervisor assigned it, it was not started, but you started working on it. We want to give you that power to be able to edit and change it from not started to maybe ongoing. And then when everything is done, you can go in again and edit to maybe completed, for instance. And then our line supervisor, Louis, in this case, is able to see that we've completed this task he assigned to us. So that is what we want to do. Another thing that I would want you to notice here, you can only select only the first. Let me show you. You can only select, let me show you tax. Only the first thing. If I want to select the second one now, you can see it's bringing the whole thing. You cannot select more than the first thing. Whatever you do to the first one is what would happen to every other one that you have here. So those are like some of the common things you see with gallery. Why am I bringing this topic separately? I was trying to combine responsiveness with gallery last week, and I just figured out it wasn't making sense. We should have touched base on it. Now, I'm sure if I go back to that app and start working now, most people would have an understanding of what is happening because you've seen what gallery is. There's another way of displaying item, though we're not going to use it. I will go to a third screen, this one. It's called data table. Let's say data table. And data table 2 is asking for the same thing. Let me give you this same work task that we gave initially. And say, I'll drag this all across here. This is another way of displaying, but this is not as common as you would have. This is another way of displaying item. But gallery is actually the most used way of displaying. When you have so many things within your list, gallery is how you display it to your audience when you're building your app. So these are like the two major ways of displaying items, but we'll be using gallery in our app. Is there any question, please, before we go back into this one? Questions, please, about gallery. It is very, very, if you have question, please ask, because gallery is something you would continually use. If there's anything that I've explained or that you saw and I've not explained, you can ask me. Yeah, so I'll assume we're all good, right? Now that we understand what gallery is, we understand collection, let's now go further in our app. Now, this is what everybody has as their first page. Let's go on to create a new screen. Do I want to make it responsive? Now, one of the biggest problems, okay, before I go again, let me use a plain, what's the name? Paint, is it Paint? This is the app. I'm going to Paint now because I want to show you the design we are trying to build in our new screen. First, I want to have you manage me the way I draw. It's not going to be too straight. So I want to build this. This is our normal way. Let's call this our normal header. Oh, I'm sure you would understand what I'm trying to do. And we'll have a big screen the way we've always had. This is what you are supposed to do before you start building the app. Design your app first. So this will be our main container where the gallery is going to be displayed. And then we would have a third one, which is our footer. And we know what we've been using our footer to do. We've been using footer for displaying value, but you can use it for anything that you wish. Now I want to go take this one further, and I want to show you what I want to do. I want to go further by splitting this into, now we are building something complete. If you understand what we are building here, the responsive half will become easy for you. What do I want to do? I want to split this one further into two things. And I want this place to be highly responsive and take the whole space available, while I will confine this one maybe 300 or 250 as the width of this particular one. Why am I splitting it? I want to build another one here and call this date filter. Date filter. This thing is not doing well. Anybody that is watching this video might not understand what we are doing there, but thank God those that are online will do. So another one here is, I now want to have within this space too, I want to have another header within this same container again, which will be aligned with this one. So this will be another mini header, and you will soon see what we'll be doing with this mini header soon. Mini header. Okay, and then the rest is where I will display. I will now put my gallery here. Let me show you. I think this is what I should have done last week. That is causing us issues. So this is now gallery for displaying all the tasks that we have. And here we can put two buttons. We can put a button if you want to submit a new application. Let me say new application. That's a new form. New form. And then I want to add just one more button here again. And I want this button to be, I can call it, should I say edit form? Let me say, yeah, edit form. Please, do you have question before I go back? I'm sure most people already understand what I've drawn here. I didn't call this one. This is footer. So this is what we want to do on the new screen. We are about to bring in footer. Any questions, please? You can see this is going to look complex. Now, this date filter, I do not want it to show every time. I want to put an icon like a plus sign, no, a filter sign here. And I want this filter sign to control this thing here. Every time that filter is on, every time I click on the filter, that's the only time I want this container here to show. And if you notice what I've done here, all these are different container. So we have container 1, and then there's a big container, container 2. So this is going to be an horizontal container. This is going to be more like a vertical container. This third one here is going to be another horizontal container. And now within that container, I'm going to have, I splitted it into 2. So these are now 2 vertical containers. And within that container here, within this container here, I'm now bringing in a new header here, which is going to be another horizontal container within that container. And I'll bring in another container that will cover the whole screen for our gallery. And then this one is not going to be in a container. It will just be loosely on this thing. And then this one I can have date from to date to. So you can always use that date. Why do I want to put this filter? I want a situation where Louis, our line manager, will be able to filter to maybe tax for just a week also, a week, and not just for the old tax that we have there. I want him to be able to filter for a day. Maybe the tax he's looking at is just tax for last week Wednesday only. I want him to be able to select the dates. So when that date is selected, I want what is here in the gallery to change depending on the date selected. So you can see what we are going to build is a bit complex. And because I didn't take my time to explain well last week, And due to my illness, it wasn't just making sense while we were trying to build it. So this is what we are going to build. Any question before we go back to our app? You can take a screenshot now, maybe on your screen, and so that you have something to compare against, because I might not really be coming back here to go back to it again. Right, so there's no question, so I can go on back to here now. So now that everybody understand what we are trying to do, let's bring in a fresh screen. And let's start from blank. Let's build our responsiveness ourselves. And let's bring in, first off, don't forget, we need a big container for everything. So we need a vertical container. Why are we bringing in container? Container is the only way we can achieve responsiveness. What is responsiveness? Responsiveness is the ability for our app to change depending on where it is being opened. If it's opened on the phone, we want it to change the orientation. If it is opened on a tablet, which has a bigger screen than a phone, we want it to take the whole space available on the tablet and fit in just the exact way. And then if you play it like on an app, for those that are not on the other call, I'll quickly show you what I mean by responsiveness. Look at what has happened. This screen here filled up everywhere here. If I change it to phone, watch what is going to happen. You can see it has switched up and everything is now realigning. Though we are not done, there's still a lot of work to be done before it becomes, all of this is extending beyond. We need to clean it up when we go to a responsive screen. And that is the meaning of responsiveness. That's in short. So if I change it to tablets, you can see it is realigning. If I decide to change the orientation, you can see what it's doing. It's taking advantage of every space available. If our app is not responsive, sorry, it's going to just fill just a portion of our screen and it will leave all the other spaces blank. So that's why we are building responsiveness. Let's call this our gallery screen or something. Because that's what we want to use it for. It's always good to rename your screen, your controls and objects. So we call this, now we are back to the container we brought in. To make an app responsive, you need to come to, there are 4 things. X, change it to 0. Why are we changing it to 0? We want this container to start where the screen is starting from, and you can see it has realigned. We're also going to do Y so that this one jumps and starts where the screen is starting also. Come on to Y. Change it also to 0. You can see. What do I want to do next? I want it to take the whole available screen size. So I would say width. And instead of the way it is hard coded to 500, I'll say take the parent. As you start typing, IntelliSense is already thinking what do you want to do, and it's giving you suggestion, parent.width. And you can see it has now extended and filled the exact space available to us now. Another thing, I want to drop this one down. Let the height be the exact height of the container. Why am I making it the exact height of this container, of the screen, sorry? Because as you go into the app and you start to play it, Power App is smart enough to know the screen on which the app is being opened. If it is open on the phone, instantly it knows this is a phone screen. So it will readjust and take the space available for the phone. And that's why we are using parents.width. That's the most important thing there. Height, come to height, and we'll also make height to be parent.height. That means if the phone is, for instance, some phone are way longer than the other one. So it's going to know the exact phone where that app is being open and it's going to readjust. So we've done the first screen. Now it's filling the exact space available to the whole screen. Let's go on to quickly do our first 3 ones. We need one header here. We need another footer down there, and then this one in the middle. So within, make sure you are selecting on container. Should I rename it? Let me change it to main container. make sure you are selecting on make sure you are not selecting on the screen. Make sure you are selecting, because if you select on the screen, you're going to break your app. You are not going to achieve that responsiveness you want. So we want to bring in that into this one. So this one, and then what do we want to bring in? Horizontal. Why is it horizontal? Because it's if a what's it called? It's an header container. So I brought it in. Now it's as if nothing has happened. Why? Because it's already taking the whole space. If you check the parents, let's check the width now. It's as if it's 500, but it's taking the whole space available. That is why you're saying it that way. Now, make sure you come back to, let's rename it. I think we should be renaming. Let's call this header container. Remember, you can give any name you want. It's not cast in stone. Make sure you are selecting the main container again. This time around, let's bring in a vertical container. And this is when you now notice that something is changing, because as immediately you bring in vertical, you can see both, let's call this container, body container. Any name is okay. Body container, because that will be the body where we would use. And what is happening already, you can see they are splitting this space 50-50. If we had not done parent.height, parent.width, all of those things we did initially, this is not going to be achievable here. Now it is understanding. You can see the fill portion is taking one of two. If you click on this one too, it's taking one of two. So they've splitted the space available in this main one, and each of them is taking half of what is available. We'll come back in here, do a third one. This is going to be horizontal because we want to use it for our footer container. And what is happening? See, the fill portion has suddenly changed to one of three. Now the thing to understand that you are splitting the space, but we do not want our this thing to be this much. First thing you do is click on, let me rename this one too. So let's say footer container. So make sure you come back to the header. I'm sure you've never seen an app where the header is as big as taking 1/3 of the whole screen. So that is not applicable. And to readjust and fit the way we want it, you come into this one and see this property, flexible height. That is what is happening here. The flexible height is turned on. You need to first turn it off, and instantly you see it readjust, and it's taking a hard-coded value. 200 is too much. Let's assign 70 to it. I think 70 is a bit too much. Let me say 64. 64. I don't know what we use for the first one. And you can see what has happened. This is now hard-coded. Hard-coded means even if it goes into 10 screen, if the screen is changing, see, this one is not going to change. It's going to retain the same thing. One of the most difficult things is building a responsive app. If we are not building a responsive app, we would have finished this topic, this one we are doing since. But it's because we are trying to build a responsive app. That is why we are taking time to explain some of these bits. You can see where I was demoing and I wasn't building responsiveness. Like, I just brought everything in and everything was so fast and we could see what we were doing. Now we've configured this to be 64, but the space left here is still being shared 50-50 by the remaining one. Footer 2 is too big. We do not want our footer to be this big. Make sure you are selecting on the footer. Scroll all the way down. Look at flexible height. Turn it off. And instantly you see the readjustment. And as it's readjusting, the space that is leaving behind, you can see the body container is now taking over that remaining space. Come into this one again. It's saying the minimum we are looking for height is still 200. That is too much. Let's make it 64 too. And now see what we've achieved, what we initially set out. That's the first container thing we set out. And if I want to give a bit of space between them, which is not compulsory, but for clarity and other things, we'll come back to the main container that houses the three of them. And on the gap, there's something they call gap. Can make it 12 or 16, as the case may be. And when you play, let me go back to a computer screen, canvas, you can see what is happening. There's now space between our gallery, so it's clearer. Now we've done that. We've been doing this for a while, so everybody understand this. We already turned on modern control. So let's bring in what we call header. If you do not turn on new modern control, you will not see this header that I'm seeing. So make sure, and for those that might not know where to do it, come to settings, come to updates, modern control, and theme. Make sure it is turned on. That's when you will be able to see this header. Then let's bring in the header, and as you're bringing it, is already picking our picture. What do we want to do here? Let's call this. Now, this is where your creativity starts. What should this thing be? We want to use it to show all the tasks available. So let's say all tasks or something. Don't mind me with the names I give. I'm not so good with naming. Oh, why do I put a double colon everywhere? It's because it's a text thing. If I do, let me do it without it. You see it, you start mourning and complaining. All task. So you can see the red sign. It's not happy, and that's because it's text. Most programming language always wants you to cast the text you want to do in something similar. I'm sure there are more languages that uses this too. So here, and then it's happy now. It's no longer complaining. Well, it's too close to this one. These ones are, by the way, because that's not the main thing we are here to do. I can decide to use our logo. Quickly select that also. Is it download? Okay. Yeah. So we are done with this one. I'm not going to bother going to footer. You already know what I'm going to do. The next thing is this bit. If you remember from what we drew out, where's my paint again? Okay, yeah, this one. From what we drew out, so we've achieved header, we've achieved footer, we've gotten the big screen we want here. So what's the next thing to do? I'm going to sideline this and you'll see how I will do it. But that might not be today because our time is fast spent. I'm not sure we're going to be able to still finish, but tomorrow we'll finish this by God's grace. So I'm not going to work on this one. I just want to work on this little one in between first. So I'll go back to, where's my mouse? Right, so I've achieved what I want to achieve. I'm now going to select the corn, this one I want to bring in now. Another thing I want another small header on top, and then I want another one in between. So I'll make sure I'm selecting on the container body. And what do I want to bring in? Sorry, insert. I want to bring in another. Should I use vertical gallery for it first? And let that, okay, let me bring in a vertical gallery first. A vertical container, sorry. And now it's taking over everything. Now within the vertical container, I want to now bring in an horizontal container. And now, I didn't bring that in. That's not in yet. Horizontal container. Right. So I'll call this mini header container. I want to use it as a mini header within my main mini header. And the way you rename, you can see with the way we are renaming, it's way better because you begin to know what you want to use each of that container for. I want to use this as main, and I will come back to this one. I will insert is it vertical again now? I need the vertical one. Yeah, vertical. And now vertical container, and see what is happening now. So we are now doing the same thing we did initially on this one. Now this is, come back onto this one. We want to use this as a mini header. So this is too big. Come back onto here again. Remove this. This 200 is too much. We can even do 40 this time around because it's going to be a small header under it. Now you can see we are beginning, our app is beginning to take shape the way we would want it. Is there any question, please, before we go? Because we have approximately 17 minutes more. Questions, please. Am I confusing the way I'm trying to explain? No questions. That means everybody is good. Okay. I'll just continue then. Right. So, what's the next thing we would want to do here now? Let me see. Trying to look at the diagram we drew. That's why it's good to always have a layout before you get started. The layout is going to, anytime you're confused, that was what we didn't have last week, and we're beating around the bush because we didn't have what we were trying to do. Okay, so the next thing I want to do, there's a third container that most people do not know about, and that's what I'm going to bring in. I've explained that to us also in the past. So I'll make sure I'm selecting, I can call this, I don't know, I don't know what name to call it again, but everybody know what this is now. This is like the main body inside the main body. So within this one, make sure you're selecting on this one, and then come to container again. But this time around, I'm not going to bring in horizontal. I'm not going to bring in vertical. I'm going to bring in what we'll call just container. Now, what is this container for? And I'm going to bring it in so that I can use it to explain something. I will delete this button I'm about to bring in. And I will show you, let me bring in this one. Now, watch what is going to happen with this button. This is what is happening. I can drag this button across anywhere. Now, watch what would happen if I decide to put a button on this one. This is our footer container. I want to bring in the same button here now. Watch what is going to happen. Button. And look at it. I can't move this particular one, but I can move this one. This is movable across board. What's the difference? The difference is this third name called container. If you are building a responsive app, vertical container and horizontal container would not allow you the flexibility of dragging and dropping objects the way you want it. So if you want to drag and drop objects, you need to bring in this one that is just container only, not just, but make sure that container is sitting within either horizontal or vertical. But this is going to be container. This is where you can achieve all you set out to achieve. Any questions, please? This is very important. I'll go on to delete this. Questions? Let me delete from here. Footer, sorry. So everybody is okay. I'll delete this also. I only brought it in to show you what this container, how this one is different from the other one. Now that we are here, I'll delete this button. Now I can go in and bring in the gallery that we've used on this screen. Where's our gallery again? Now let's go and bring in gallery. Come to make sure you're selecting the right container. This is the container I want, the one that is not. And how would you know? This is vertical. They are stacked on each other. Horizontal is stacked left to right. This one is just like a screen. That's how you know the kind of container you're working with. Come on to, let's bring in gallery now. Gallery. Let's make it a vertical gallery. Oh, there's something I've not done, and I would want to do it before I go on. Yes, I'll quickly leave this and show you something before our time. That might be, what am I doing? What's this? Okay, sorry. Yeah, so I'm going to come back to on start. Oh, I've declared it already, but I've not really used it yet. Okay, you remember we worked on collection this night. So I'm going to come onto the onStart property of the app and run our ClearCollect. Now I'll give it a name. I say call task. You can call it any name you want, and then you declare your data source, and you can see it's happy. But if I come onto here now, collection. Okay, it's already showing because I've run it in the past. Okay, because I came into the app for the first time. So that works fine already. Okay. What I wanted to show you, I've done it. Would you want me to show you again, or should I just go on? Does everybody understand what is happening here? Is just see people. I just see people on this call. Or am I the only one left?
Yes, we are here.
Oh, okay. Because I'm not seeing anyone, so I just do I need to do it again, or everybody is fine with what? I could delete and declare this thing again if you want. Okay, so everybody understand what is happening here now. Let me go back to our new gallery. And now instead of using, remember I said we could pick our tax manager, which is our data source. But because of sending back and forth, collecting and all of that, you do not want to use your data source. You use collection in that manner. So I'll pick a collection and look at what has happened. These are some of the issues I had last week. I think it was because I was sick. I was just tensed and all that. Now look at layout. It's saying blank and nothing was chosen from here. So all we have to do is let's pick, we can pick. No, I don't even want to do it this way. I think within the gallery, I know what to do. What do I want to do? I want the gallery to fill up everywhere. I want the gallery to take the exact size of everything available. Is that no. Let me just drag it. I'll drag. Remember, we are working with a container that is flexible, so we're able to drag and do some basic things again. So I'll drag, and then I will select this container, and the gallery, sorry. And then I'll click this button. Make sure this is some of the issue we had last week too. I wasn't selecting this button. That is, I was bringing in things and they were not going into the gallery. Make sure you are selecting on this. So it's happy now. And then let's bring in some text label, and you'll see what I want to do with the label in about 10 minutes. So I'll bring in this label and I can readjust it and take it to the top. I'll bring in an extra label. How many things do we have here? We have, sorry, this is not our data source for tonight. Tax manager. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we've got 7 labels to bring in. Right, let's bring another label. But there's something I'm not doing. This is not going to be responsive enough. Sorry, I'll delete it and I'll explain why. So much problem with responsive app. Within the gallery, make sure you're selecting this one and then come on to container again. Let's bring in another container. This time around, we are bringing in an horizontal container and then we are readjusting the X and Y property to 0. Let it start from the edge. Y, let it start from another edge. Start it from the top rather. Width, let it be parent.width because we want it to switch depending on the space available to it. Height, should it be parent.height? Think no, the height is fine. So it's just the width I want to control. Yes. So I have this container now. Now within this container is where I want to bring in all those labels. Labels, I'll say insert label, text label 1, and label. I'm going to bring in all the label I'll be needing once, or I could just copy rather than doing it repeatedly. That doesn't change anything. You can copy, paste, 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 paste. I think there are 7 things I'll be needing. Right. Now I want to display 7 things there, and I want to view this thing the same way it's showing on my data source. So I'll come back here. Remember what is the value of what we have here. It is this item. think there's something I'm not doing right. Wait a minute. This item dot, what's the first column? Task. So he's not happy. He's not happy. There's something is wrong from our steps. And that's why he's not happy. Responsive app is going to cause us a whole lot of issues. It would have been happy if we had not changed some things. What do I do to correct this now? And I want it to be responsive. That's just the challenge I'm having. He's not happy. That's why he's not picking it up. As I'm typing, this should pick this item for me already. But he's not picking it because I want to reference. So this is not happy. What do I do to correct it? Hmm. It's already picking something. Wait, is this not in the gallery? I think I made, oh, look at me. I made a mistake. So. You can see what is happening. Everything I'm doing is outside the gallery. No wonder it's not picking it up. So I need to delete this whole thing here. I don't know if anybody understand what I'm trying to say. Everything I brought in into this container is not what I wanted. So I'll just click on it and just delete. I'll make sure I click on this thing, click on these three dots. That was the same thing. And then let's bring in container again. This time around, it's going to bring in the right thing. You can see now, is now within, these are things that will cause us issue in Power Apps. You can see now is now within the gallery, and watch what would happen now. Let's quickly do the X and Y again. X, 5 more minutes remaining. Width, parent tweet. And now within this container, now let's now bring in labels now. Label, text label. Before I bring in so many labels, let me see if it's going to be happy with what I have first. This item, okay. Now you can see now it's now it's working the way I want it now. Initially, when I started typing, it was not, the IntelliSense was not bringing anything, and that was why I knew what I did was wrong. So this item dot, what was the first thing on our column? I want the task name dot tasks. As you start typing, it's just tasks, and see what is happening. Let me quickly duplicate this across board to some other places. We paste. I need 7 of them. That's 5. And then one more. As tasks, this one I want it to be description instead of tasks. This item, every item within the gallery starts with this item. Dot description. What's the third one? I just wanted to take. Okay, thank you. So that I'll quickly finish up with this one before we go to the third one. Date. As you start typing, date created. Fourth one.
Assigned to.
So start typing, it's going to bring it. The fourth one. Is it fifth one? Sorry. What's the fifth one? Miriam.
I can't remember.
Priority, date, and status. Priority. Do you know priority is not happy? Why? Because it's a choice column. It's expecting dot value.
Due date.
Yeah.
Due date.
And then lastly,
status.
Is this one going to be happy too?
No, value.
Okay,
you need
thank you.
Value.
Senior developer. Yes, so we've done some things. Well, let me quickly expand this. This is too small. I'm going to do, this is where we're going to stop this night, but there are some couple of things that we are going to do here. This is where we are going to stop. It's already 3 minutes. I do not want us to spend more time. We'll continue from here. Let me just save up so it doesn't go more than this for this night. So let's take the remaining 3 minutes for question. I hope we enjoyed today's class. I think I'm a bit.
Yes, we did.
Okay. Are there questions, please? Any question? Let me stop sharing my screen. So I've saved. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Questions, please. No question. That means we are good.
No question in the chat box too.
Okay. So thank you, everybody. So we're going to call it a day, and let's do this again tomorrow.
Thank you, Coach. We appreciate.
Thank
All right.
you.
Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.